Hello everybody, it's the Warhipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial from the Maggotkin of Nurgle. Yes, we are back in the Age of Sigmar once more with, well, the somberest of horses for the Maggotkin of Nurgle. And I've been really excited to paint these because I think they're absolutely fantastic miniatures. And, well, a massive thank you goes out to Games Workshop, who very kindly sent me these early to build up and paint with all of you, and that is exactly what we are going to be doing today. So I've only got one XL painting handle, so we're going to have to swap between, but there's not really going to be that much that comes up that's different. There's no musician, there's no standard bearer, there's nothing like that. So really it's just going to be applicable across all three. But of course, if something does come up, for example on the horses, we shall of course point it out as we go along. So we're going to focus on this guy just for the moment, but we will be doing the other two at the same time. And all three of our Sloven Knights have been painted, or primed I should say, in grey. No, Wraithbone, that's the one. Anyway, let's jump in and let's start painting. So, the colour we're going to be using first is a roughly 2 parts Reikland Fleshshade to 1 part Lamia Medium mix. And we're going to be applying this over the top of, well, just all of the horse. So we're just going to start in here, under there, and we're just going to start getting this over the top, like so. And of course I've mixed this up as 4 parts Reikland Fleshshade to 2 parts Lamia Medium, just so that we've got enough to get through at least one whole horse. But this is going to add a nice sort of fleshy base to anything else we want to add afterwards, like boils and rents in the flesh or any bone or anything like that that might come up. Because it's a shade paint, we can be a little sort of over enthusiastic with the application here, should we wish to be. We've got a lot more drying time. So with that all done, once it's fully dry, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Carroburg Crimson. We're going to apply this over top of just a few key areas. So one of them is the tongue, just here, on this particular Sloven Knight. And we're just going to get this all over the tongue, just leaving the tip of it, because what we're then going to do is just wash the brush, touch off the water, and then just give it a cheeky little blend towards the end, like that. Lovely. And then on one of our other ones, we're going to also look out for bruising around any sort of rents in the flesh. So we've got some just here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of that Carroburg Crimson, not too much, and we're just going to apply this like so around that wound. Then we're going to wash the brush, touch off the water once more, and then just stipple away at that transition line to just soften it out. Like that sort of thing. So with that Carroburg Crimson all applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take a little bit of Nazdreg Yellow, and we're going to apply this inside any of the wounds and over the top of any of the boils and sort of nurgliness scattered around the models. And so with that Nazdreg Yellow all applied, what we're then going to do for anything that remains of sort of sort of illness and sort of spots and things. What we're going to do is we're going to take some Gryph-Charger Grey. I'm going to apply this over the top of that stuff. So there's one here, for example. We can apply some just there over that large boil. Just for a bit of variation in the model. There we go. See if we've got anything on the other side. Yeah, why not? We can apply some just over this one. Just there, like that. And we'll apply a little bit just there as well. And over the top of this closed eye. So with all of that skin on the horse is now, well, mostly sort of fully base coated. What we're going to do next is we're going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this over the top of the horse hair. And the reason I just twizzled it round then was there is the occasional bit of bone hiding in the horse tail. So you just want to avoid that where possible. And so with that all done, we're now going to take some Skeleton Horde and we're going to apply this over the top of any bones, spikes and teeth. And so with that all done, we're now going to take a roughly 2 parts Ratling Grime to 1 part Larmian medium mix. And we're going to do a bit of blending up the legs of the horse. So we're going to apply this like that over the top of the sort of bottom or the socks of the horse up to around about the knee. And then we're just going to wash the brush, touch off the water, and then we're just going to blend out that transition into the Reikland Fleshshade. Like that. So with that all done, our next thing is we're going to work on all of the barding, so all of the sort of cloth on the horses. And, well, we're going to be using some Gryph-Charger Grey up first. I'm going to use this over the top of all of it. But don't worry, it's not going to stay this colour, of course. It's got that sort of slightly ghostliness to it. But not quite as ghostly as a Night Haunt. So we've got a couple more bits to do to it. Coming up next. So once all that Gryph-Charger Grey is fully applied and dry, what we're then going to do is take a roughly 4 parts Terradon Turquoise to 1 part Larmian medium. And we're going to apply this over the top. So with all that Terradon Turquoise now applied, what we're going to do is we're going to take a roughly 2 parts Black Templar to 1 part Lamia Medium mix, although I've mixed up 4 parts Black Templar to 2 parts Lamia Medium. And we're going to apply this over top of the entirety of the cloves, but then we're going to blend it and wipe it off the end, basically. So we're going to start just under here, under the leg, and apply it just here. I'm going to bring it down around this ribbon, like so, and around this ribbon, in there like that. And then keep going along. Like this. Grab a little bit more. Till we get to the bottom. Like that. And then what we're going to do is going to wash the brush. Get rid of the water, and then just at the bottom, basically just roughly wipe it off. Creating a lovely blend. Into our Black Templar, like that. And so with that done once, we're then going to take the exact same mix again, our Black Templar and Lamia Medium, and we're going to do a slightly shorter blend. So we're going to come down here, for example, just over the top. We don't need to do anything there. And over here as well, like that. But over the top of the main body of it. Just going to come straight across like that. Wash the brush. Touch off the water, and then give it the old blendy blends like that, just to really reinforce that black. Do the same thing over here. Like so. So with that all done, our next job is to take some Cygor Brown. And we're going to thin it down in a roughly 4 parts Cygor Brown to 1 part Lamia Medium mix. And we're going to apply this over top of all of the horse's leather. This isn't going to include any of the kind of red straps and things which some of them have. For example, these sort of tassels coming down here. Now we're going to do something slightly different for that. But this is going to include things like the reins, the saddle, and the girth strap. So for all those cabley traily things, we're going to take some Blood Angels Red and apply this over the top. So with that all done, over 2 out of 3 of our Sloven Knights, we're going to take some Sigvald Burgundy. I'm going to apply this over top of the cloak. The one we're not going to be applying this over the top of is the one with the dangling mace. And with that Sigvald Burgundy applied to the other 2, to this individual, we're going to take some Athonian Camoshade and apply this over top of their sort of cloaky cloth. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some Black Legion. And we're going to be on the hunt now for any kind of remaining cloth and undersuits or any remaining leather details. And so now with that done, what we're going to do is take two colours, Skeleton Horde and Cygor Brown, and we're going to be applying this over top of the horns. So we're going to start with some Skeleton Horde, and we're going to apply this over top of the entirety of those horns. Or are they antlers? I can never tell. Or I never know what to say. Yeah, we're going to do this over both sides because it's not a particularly intense wet blend that we're going to be doing. So we're just going to get this over the top like that, and then we're just going to wash the brush, grab a little bit of Cygor Brown, and just over the tips, that's a little bit too much, just over the tips of the horns we apply some. Like that. And then we wash the brush, grab some Skeleton Horde, we use this to kind of smooth it out and blend in. Like that. And with that all done, for all this sort of goopy wormy stuff that's also on their helmets, we're going to take some Briar Queen Chill. I'm going to apply this over the top. And with that all done, we're then going to take some Reikland Fleshshade, and we're going to apply this over top of any skin. And so with that all done, it is now time to work on the metallics, which is the vast majority of the models, to be fair. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take some thinned down Runelord Brass. We're going to apply this over the top of all of the armour, any decoration and any trinkets, bells and things like that. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors, and we're going to apply this over top of all of our remaining details. So with that all done, it's now time to add some shades and some colouring into our armour, and well, over the top of the model. But what we're going to do first is, classically for our metallic Nurgle stuff, is we're going to take a roughly 4 parts Militarum Green to 2 parts Lahmian Medium mix, otherwise known as a 2-to-1 mix, where we've just mixed up 4 to 2 so we can get more of the models done. And we're going to apply this over top of all of the brass armour. And once that Militarum Green is all dry, we're then going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Mantis Warriors Green and Larmian Medium. And we're going to apply this over the top. And so for all our other metallics, we're going to take two colours, Agrax Earthshade and Gore-Grunta Fur. I'm going to apply them at the same time. So we're going to start with some Agrax Earthshade. We're just going to apply this over the top of, well, all of the bits of metallic that are left. Like, for example, the weapons. It's all silver and jewellery and things like that. But what we're going to do is, once we've done kind of like that much, we're just going to take a little bit of Gore-Grunta Fur. I'm going to apply this kind of sporadically over the top, like that. And then, because we've kind of mixed it on the model, we then just continue it on and apply that over as much of it as we can until we run out. And then we just start the entire process all over again. So with that all done, we've got a couple of shades more to apply. And the first one is some Poxwalker. We're going to apply this over top of the Briar Queen Chill growths. And with that all done, we then take some Gryph-Hound Orange. And we're going to apply this over top of those trails that we did with Blood Angels Red. And so with that all done, we then want to take some Carroburg Crimson. I'm going to apply this over top of the Sigvald Burgundy. And so with that all done, we're then going to take some Druchii Violet. And we're going to apply this over top of any of the skin that we want to just have a slight differentiation, such as this sort of covering slash overfilling, bursting forth sort of flesh here on this individual, like that. So with those shades all applied, our Sloven Knights are now what I would call a Warhipster battle ready. And they're looking pretty good. However, we're not going to leave them there, of course not. We're going to take them to the next level. We're going to do this by adding some highlights. Now the first of these, as you've probably noticed, is going to be a dry brush. And the first colour we're going to be using is some Karak Stone. And we're going to be using this to dry brush quite a number of details here. So we're going to be dry brushing the legs and the Black Legion, like so. We're going to be dry brushing the Cygor Brown, like this. And we're also going to dry brush. No, I think that's it. There's a lot of details that cover that. Oh, in fact, we are dry brushing the Ready Orange as well. And with that Karak Stone dry brush all applied, what we then do is we take some Flayed One Flesh and we very gently use this to dry brush the red, like that. We're going to use this to dry brush the actual flesh of the mounts as well. And the other thing we're going to do here is we're going to use this to dry brush the flesh and the antlers. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is highlight all of that barding. I'm going to start by taking some thinned down Thunderhawk blue. I'm going to use this to highlight the darkest areas up the top here. So with all that Thunderhawk blue applied, we then take some thinned down Fenrisian Grey. And we use this to add some little spot highlights to the sharpest little corners up here in the Thunderhawk blue. But what we also do is we use this to highlight the brighter turquoisey parts of the barding. So with that all done, we're now going to take a little bit of Corax White. We use this to pick out the horse's eyes. And with that Corax White all applied, we then take a little bit of Coelia Greenshade and we apply this over the top. And with that all done, we then take some thinned down Screaming Skull. And we use this to add a little highlight to all the teeth and any spikes. So with that all done, it is now time to take some thinned down Pink Horror. I'm going to use this to highlight the Burgundy. With all of that Pink Horror applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Kislev Flesh. And we're going to use this to add some little spot highlights just to the sharpest little corners and edges in all that burgundy. And so with those burgundy cloaks now finished, what we're going to do is we're going to finish this cloak off by taking some thinned down Deepkin Flesh. I'm going to use this to highlight. So with that all done, we're now going to take some thinned down Canoptek Alloy. I'm going to use this to highlight the green armour and all the brass. And with all that Canoptek alloy applied, we're then going to take one of our DIY stippling brushes, and this one's a medium layer brush. I'm going to take some Nazdreg Brown, and we're going to stipple this over the top of our silver details, where we want to add some rust and some dirt. Just like this. I need to actually get a little bit more Nazdreg Brown on my brush. There we go. And with that Nazdreg Brown stippling all done, we're then going to take some Deathclaw Brown. I'm going to do a much lighter, patchier finish in amongst it to give a little bit of variation to our rust. And so to finish things off, we're going to take some Iron Breaker. We're going to also stipple this over the top of the edges of our weapons, giving a nice kind of worn, fuzzy look. And of course the rest of the silver as well. Just however much you want to sort of clean them off a little bit. And so with their bases complete in the same style as all of our Maggotkin of Nurgle from Darkwater, our Sloven Knights are now finished. And whilst it takes a little bit of time to get there, eventually they do end up looking absolutely gloriously disgusting, as you can see before you. And I really enjoyed this one. They are fantastic models, and now my Harbinger of Decay has some friends to pad around the tabletop with. So that's always a big plus. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.